Hare Krishna. Today I'm going to read a story from the book Wonderful Krishna, which is compiled by Himangi Gopi Mataji and Radhika Mataji and dedicated to Srila Prabhupada. This book is more of such books are available at Voice. It's known as Vedic Voices for Inspiration, Culture and Education. It is an organization oriented towards training youth and children in moral and spiritual values based on the timeless principle of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and the Vedas. There are over 8 children voice centers that operate once in a week for a couple of hours in training over 300 children in Pune and now in other cities also. And it also has value education training program for secondary school children. The motto of Voice is rekindling wisdom, reviving love. So this book is meant for parents and teachers, for children who are above around 8 years of age. Today I'm going to read a story from Mahabharata known as Peace Messenger. Okay, so the story is set in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and here Krishna sets off with Satyaki in his chariot. This chariot was specially meant for traveling at high speed. It had 2 great wheels resembling the sun and the moon. It was beautifully decorated with carvings and small bells and precious stones. Krishna's chariot was pulled by 4 horses. There was a large dark blue banner with the emblem of Garuda. The charioteer's name was Daruka. He urged the horses forward and they sped away. Krishna was headed on a special mission. For a long time, the Kurus headed by Duryodhan were on the verge of a war with their cousins, the Pandavas. Earlier, Duryodhan had organized an unfair dice game in which the Pandavas had lost all their wealth and property. Their wife Draupadi had been mistreated in public. Besides this, the Pandavas had lived in exile for 13 years. They had tolerated everything. Now, as true Kshatriyas, the Pandavas wanted at least some of their property back so that they would rule it and live in peace. The wise elders of the Kuru family advised Duryodhan to give back the rightful share to the Pandavas. But Duryodhan was surrounded by men like Karna, Shakuni and Dushasan who misguided him. Duryodhana's father Dhritarashtra was blind, and due to attachment for his sons, he was unable to make proper decisions. Krishna was traveling all the way to Hastinapur to personally talk to Duryodhan and convince him to stop the war. As they sped towards Hastinapur, Satyaki looked around and saw various omens like lightning flashing, rivers flowing backwards, and fires on the horizon. Although Satyaki saw these terrible signs, he noticed that the area around the chariot was mild and calm. There was a cool breeze carrying fragrant lotus petals and drops of water. They passed through various provinces and were greeted by thousands of people standing on either side of the road. Some were throwing flower petals, others were chanting. At the end of the first day's journey, they arrived at Brikasthala. They rested for the night and continued the journey next morning. On the day before Krishna's arrival, Dhritarashtra had called an assembly to discuss how to greet Krishna. Dhritarashtra said, "Krishna is the Lord of creation, the source of all power, wisdom and opulence. Let us welcome him with great respect and honor. I will offer him the most opulent palace of Dushasan and 16 golden chariots drawn by excellent horses and many costly gifts. Let us decorate the city. Tomorrow we will declare a festival in honor of Krishna." Vidura agreed with Dhritarashtra but also added, What you are doing is good, but don't think you can win over the Lord of the Yadus by offering him wealth. His real desire is that you give at least 5 villages to the Pandavas. Duryodhan said, what Vidura is saying is correct. There is no use of offering gifts to Krishna because he will think that it is a sign of weakness. Bhishma shook his head. Krishna will not become angry whether he is properly received or not. We cannot insult him nor can we win over him. Whatever he desires will happen, and we cannot check him by any means. We should follow his directions, O king, and make peace with the Pandavas. Duryodhana had already discussed his wicked plans with Shakuni and Karna. Therefore, these words made Duryodhana's eyes filled with anger. I will never share power with the Pandavas. When Krishna enters, I will take him captive. Then the Yadus, Vrishnis, Pandavas and the whole world will be at my disposal. Dhritarashtra was shocked to hear his son's words. Oh child, do not speak in this way. A messenger should never be harmed in any way. What to speak of one such as Krishna? He is our relative and dear to all of us. Bhishma spoke with fury. O king, your son chooses only evil and never good. You follow him on this unrighteous path towards certain ruin. I do not want to listen to any more words from this sinful person. Saying this, Bhishma strode out of the assembly hall in a rage. Dhritarashtra ended the session and everyone left. Soon Krishna and Satyaki approached the outskirts of Hastinapur. Crowds of people lined the roads to greet Krishna. Ladies stood on the balconies and showered fragrant flowers. The sounds of musical instruments and conch shells filled the air. Krishna dismounted the chariot. 50 tall and well-armed soldiers walked ahead of him and cleared a path towards the crowd. Loud shouts of O Govinda were heard everywhere. Krishna was brought directly to Dhritarashtra in the royal court and received with great respect. It was decided that there would be a full assembly on the following day when they would hear Krishna's message. Then, taking Dhritarashtra's permission, Krishna left the court and went to Vidura's house to see Kunti. Vidura was overjoyed to see Krishna approaching his home. They embraced each other lovingly. Then Krishna went inside to see his beloved auntie Kunti, the mother of the Pandavas. Kunti greeted him and shed tears, thinking of her sons. Krishna saw that his aunt had become weak through fasting and grieving for her sons. They sat down to talk. In a choked voice, Kunti inquired about her heroic sons and how they had suffered. She ended, O Keshava, I do not grieve for the defeat of the dice game, the loss of the kingdom, or even the separation from my sons. I grieve for my dear daughter-in-law Draupadi, who was insulted in the court of the Kurus. Krishna consoled his aunt. You have given birth to 5 great heroes. Your sons are known for their virtues. They have controlled sleep, laziness, anger, joy, hunger and thirst. The time has now come for them to be installed as kings, surrounded by prosperity. After respectfully bidding farewell to Kunti, Krishna returned to Duryodhana's place. The palace was as high as a mountain. It was built of white marble, decked with precious gems and gold engravings. Krishna passed through the 3 main parts of the palace and at last reached the central hall.